Hey everybody, I'm bringing you another tips and tricks for Call of Duty Ghosts, this time about ARs. And this works with pretty much every AR, but it's also going to be a little bit subjective. This is focusing more so on the map control aspect and what some people would call camping. I don't consider this, I guess it is a type of camping, but it's not the blood boiling corner camping that gets you so pissed off when somebody just sits around a corner and waits. This is more known as map control. A lot of competitive players will use it where they'll sit down and lock down an area, and that's pretty much what happens here. I'm playing with a clan here, so there's a lot of communication about where people might be, and pretty much my job is just to lock down this whole white side. So we'll get right into the tips and tricks. First and foremost, I think on just about every class except for the submachine gun class, you should use quick draw. I mean, aiming down sights is just such an integral part of Call of Duty. It's literally the difference between missing your first and second bullet or getting a shot just like that, right? That one shot difference is really a big deal, especially in Call of Duty Ghosts when you kill people so fast. So definitely need that quick draw. The other perks I use are Dead Silence and Focus. Obviously, ARs are kind of a long distance thing. Dead Silence isn't quite as necessary, but if you ever do go down, you need to make it back to kind of a different area. Last thing you want to do is have someone hear you. I just have Dead Silence on all my classes. And Focus, because of those long-range battles, if they hit you with a bullet and you don't have focus, your little red dot is going to go flying off of the person. It's going to look up into the air, and as long as they keep hitting you, you're not going to be able to control that recoil and come back down onto them without focus. Even with focus, sometimes you'll see like your red dot will still bounce a little bit off them, but with focus, it's a lot easier to control the recoil. So with that in mind, I got quick draw, Dead Silence, focus. I also use agility, only because running around with the AR is, I'm not 100% sure why I need it in a map like this, but in some maps you need to kind of race them to an area or be able to jump back and forth. Like here in a second I'm just going to jump across, and it's nice to have that little bit of agility to kind of help you get there. Again, a difference of a single bullet. It doesn't seem like much, but it starts to add up. One thing you'll see me doing here is a little bit of 316, where I come in, then I come back out. It's just called peeking. You don't want to stand out in the open if you see someone and shoot them. If you can quickly, if you don't see them first, and you can duck in, and then duck back out, double back for them, they're not necessarily going to be expecting it, and you already know where they are. So, like, those couple of guys, I just caught them with their pants down, kind of, because they just stood in that open window. It's peeking, for a lot of people it's second nature, but for some people it's not. If you can learn to peek and use, your quick draw to your advantage, your focus for a long distance, that kind of thing, you're gonna get, your big kill streaks like the Griffin, the helicopter pilot, stuff like that. So use those kill streaks use those perks and your distance with an AR to your advantage. The last thing you want to do is get into a close quarters fight with an SMG where they can just hip fire you and be stuck with an AR trying to pick them up. One thing I do want to talk about is the different ARs. Obviously, the Remington seems to be the best at long distance. Medium distance, it suffers a little just because of the rate of fire. However, if you hip fire the first shot and it hits them, you're pretty much good to go. It's just sometimes it's a little sketchy on who's going to win that gunfight at a closer range. All in all, though, I do believe that the Remington it wins more than it loses, so that's the one that I stick with. I've had a couple questions on kill streaks, and I run really high kill streaks. Unfortunately, there's nothing like Black Ops 2 where you can run like dogs in a swarm and stuff like that. Otherwise, I would. And here, the highest you can get basically is what I have. I got a helicopter pilot, a Griffin, and then the helo pilot. I don't like the Juggernauts. The Maniac's pretty cool, but it gets really boring when you've completed it. And the regular Juggernaut is, I don't know, just kind of, I think it's garbage. You walk around so slow, and that minigun, you can't aim down sights, and yeah, I'm just not a big fan. No health regen, It just isn't my thing. But that'll just about wrap it up for this episode of Tips and Tricks with an AR. So, you know, like I said, keep those those perks on it. I mean, quick draw, focus, dead silence for me is always a must, and then agility is a really good one, just to help you move around the map a little bit better. So you keep those, and you know, remember to peek and not to stand out in the open, and you should be putting up scores like that. I mean, 25-1 is definitely not a bad score. And like I said, I might have been what some people would call camping, but I mean, anybody who's any good at the game will tell you, you get a team that locks down a whole side of the map and uses map control, they're going to win.